Hello and welcome to another episode of Golden Nuggets with Silvia Eldawi. Today I'm joined by Gino Cross, who is the Managing Director of Strada. Welcome, Gino.
Thank you very much.
Now, Strada just won Best Newcomer of the Year award. You've been around for 2 years. Let's hear the backstory and the vision of Strada.
I joined 4 months into the business. I wasn't one of the founders. So there's 3 of us that own it, me, Che and Gary.
Gary the Scouse.
Gary the Scouse.
We'll have him on soon, hopefully.
He'd love that. I joined when the business was really, really early. I had an off-plan business that I sold, had a barbecue with Che, ended up having a chat with him, and he was like, look, why don't you come on board? Agreed it, and it's the best thing I ever did.
Excellent. And what I love about Strada is you came out all guns blazing, like, we're not a regular real estate agency. We are a marketing agency. And to me, it's something that I've always been kind of banging on about is that sales and marketing is the same thing, essentially. You cannot sell without marketing, and you cannot market or succeed in marketing without selling.
Yeah.
And that's why so many businesses, or so many, especially in real estate, if you have a separate sales director and a separate marketing director, usually they're at loggerheads all the time because they're trying to support each other. But I always kind of advocate for it being one person. But now you've just come out with one agency, which is sales and marketing. What is the kind of the underlying principle of this claim that you are a marketing agency?
I think the vision, there's 3 of us that own it, and we all do very different roles. So one is operations, one is marketing, one is sales. And
you're the sales guy.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. How could you tell? And we all focus on our own, we're very heavily focused on what we're doing.
You stay in your lane.
Yeah, exactly. But then we come together and trying to do it a little bit differently. We take a lot of inspiration from America. Mm-hmm. We look at, I think the market right now is so flooded with people just, like we were talking about earlier, right? Like just making the worst cold calls I've ever heard in my entire life, and just expecting doing the same thing and expecting different results. It's just not
going to happen.
No, so we've taken a different approach. We're trying to use social media to our advantage. Gary was very successful on social media for years and years as an agent.
And so you've now started building up your own social media account, and your background is you were working for a developer.
Yep.
And then you went into off plan, and then you became MD of Strada. So how is that transition from being a broker yourself to being a mentor, a managing director?
It was a tough one. I think I love brokering. Even now, I love being involved in deals. I love helping close deals and things like that. And I always will. But there's a big transition from being a broker, out and out, going out, selling off-plan, secondary, whatever it is, to then working with a team and not worrying so much about how you're going to generate. Deals. Yeah, exactly. What you do is actually teaching them and guiding them how to do it. I struggled a little bit with that transition to begin with. I love it now.
And you were like a super off-plan broker. And to me, I really admire off-plan agents because it is a complete different monster to secondary sales. So what would you say, like if someone's listening to this and they're trying to decide whether to go into off-plan or secondary, of course you'd advise off-plan, or would you right now?
Well, it's down to the person, isn't it? I think the secondary, if you're going to go into secondary, you're going to go as an estate agent. Yeah. You're going to go and build your portfolio of sellers, build a relationship with them, ideally take them on exclusive and then take them to market. If you're going to go off-plan, it's almost the reverse. It's a proper, you've got like hunter and farmer, right? It's a proper hunter role. You've got to go and find a buyer, or you've got to go create a buyer. You meet someone who's got 5 million dirham in the bank, never thought about buying off-plan. You've got to convince them to buy something that doesn't exist.
And you've got to convince them to buy it through you.
Exactly. And that's another really difficult point. Like if we're going to go buy something from a developer, you can literally walk in and buy without me and have exactly the same deal.
Yeah.
Where I would come in and what you've got to convince the client of, or what the client's got to see, is the value you're providing, right?
Right.
So I think it's the background of research. Even now, if you go on my YouTube, it's all real estate. I love it, and I think most people in our industry do. They're so passionate. So you've got to understand the developers, the payment plans, the investment. I get calls now. Hi, how are you? There's a launch coming. You must buy it. I'm like, why? because it's amazing. What's amazing about it? They don't understand net, gross, yield. They don't understand
can't
an
answer
investment.
anything.
Yeah. So that's so important. That you've got a facilitator, haven't you? Well, I want to buy this, and you just facilitate it, or you've got a proper advisor. So, and I would want to be an advisor. I was an advisor.
And so what made you so good at off-plan?
Building relationships with the developers. I used to go and sit in the developer's office all day. It's crazy now when I tell the team, it feels like you're not doing anything. You're literally drinking coffee and just building relationships. I worked heavily with EMAR at the time, so I was building relationships with the guys in EMAR. I knew what launches were coming, the price per square foot, the payment plans, what was changing. So you can then anticipate what the next launch is.
Yeah.
It was a different market by then. As well as that, building the relationship with the clients. I feel like Dubai, there's a lot of hit and run in Dubai, right? They see you've got money, hit you with whatever pays the most commission, and that's it.
The one night stand of real estate.
Yeah, exactly. My philosophy was a little bit different. I was really lucky. I am really lucky. I worked with a couple of really big families. My thought process was, if I service you correctly and help you and I get it spot on, you're going to keep buying and you're going to buy and sell. So for like 4 or 5 years, I worked with 5, 6 people, buying, selling.
Yeah. And I always say that it's not like real estate. It's not about kind of chasing the next deal. It's about chasing that 1 out of 5 clients that is going to consistently buy through you.
And advising, like the amount of deals, even now, actually not so much now, before, that I say no to. I've been offered this, don't buy it. But no, don't do it because of this, because this is what you want to achieve and you're not going to achieve it like this. It's so, whereas most people just say, yeah, buy anything.
And you get cold calls yourself.
Yeah, videoed a few of them.
I'm sure you, yes, I saw one. I love that, to the point where I might start, that's a great idea for content, is just recording agents. I don't know what the laws are if you have to tell them that it's being recorded, or if it's okay to record for training and control purposes.
I hope so.
But some of the calls, and you have access to the call recordings, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of people calling you as well. The call status, the call quality is horrendous.
The industry quality is horrendous.
Right. So what are some of the worst conversations you've had from someone cold calling you?
It's just, what gets me is when someone's calling you, and I've said it so many times, if you're looking to make an investment, the first question I'm going to ask you is, what do you want from the investment? Regardless of how much you want to invest, what do you want to achieve? Quick return, a longer return, a yield, a flip, an increase, whatever it is. How can you give me any form of solution without understanding that?
Yeah.
So if I'm just giving you, buy this crown thing quickly, because you need to buy it, it means that I don't know anything about your needs. So I'm just selling you.
And you don't even know if I need an ashtray.
Exactly.
Oh, well, actually, it's a crown.
Very smart.
Yeah. Because we're having this conversation pre-recording about when I was an agent back in the olden days, my manager used to watch and monitor how long we'd stay on a telephone call. And if we had a call for less than like 15 minutes, if it was like a 3-minute call, they'd be looking at you like, what did you achieve out of that? How did you ask the right questions? How did you build rapport? How did you sell anything? How did you achieve anything in less than 3 minutes? And I'm going to find out what the average call length is in another episode with Property Finder. Stay tuned. Yeah. But we reckon it's going to be about 90 seconds, the average call length. People are so quick to move from call to WhatsApp, right? Yeah. That's A, number one. Yeah. And B, it's kind of such basic information like what's your budget, cash or mortgage, and that's it.
I think the whole industry is set up from the way it's set up. Let's say you come over from the UK, you're already in a rush, right? You've got X amount in the bank that you're coming over with. You're in a rush to do your first deal. Yeah. So you're not, most of the time, you're not trained correctly or thoroughly, right? You're trained to a certain degree, but there is only so much. You get thrown in the deep end with a list, a phone, start calling.
And an area.
And an area, whether you like it, whether you don't, you just get going. So you're not really adding any value. So immediately you're up against thousands of others that are doing the same thing. Yeah. So you think, right, you play a volume game. So that I think where it comes from. Whereas when you start to establish yourself, you're no longer playing a volume game. You know your worth, you know your area, you know your value as an advisor, not just to sell anything. So that's how it changes. I mean, the calls, everything, the calls, the pitches, no one wants to meet you. If you're going to go buy an iPhone, you're going to go to Dubai Mall, right? Walk into Apple. So if you're going to go and sell a £1 million, £2 million, £3 million house, you're going to call me and just ask for my passport.
Yeah.
You may as well ask my bank account and everything else as well. Like what? It doesn't make any sense.
And you're about that kind of adding value. So that's something that Strada's quite big on. Just explain that for the listeners that may not understand how a real estate agent should be adding value.
I think by honest advice, not just advice to win the listing, but honest advice, and building. What we do very well is we build a strategy, a bespoke strategy. So I'll sit with you and go through what you want to achieve, whether you're buying, whether you're selling, and then find out from there the next step, and then build the next step and the next step. So when I go to a meeting, it's quite difficult to prepare. Obviously, if you're selling a house in Dubai Hills, right? I'm going to prepare, understand the price per square foot. But to build the strategy around how we're going to sell it takes time. And I think that's massive value that people aren't necessarily doing.
And so because you should be studying so much about the project or a developer or the product itself, do you believe in niching down on either a developer, an area? I mean, you've got specific podcasts, haven't you? You've got that Arabian Ranches podcast, that Dubai Hills podcast. So I'm pretty sure you're a firm believer in niching down.
Yeah, I am. I think, again, adding value. If you're a specialist in the area and you're going to sell your house, you want to speak to someone who understands exactly what's going on. Ideally, who lives there, who has a name for themselves in the community, you're going to see in the gym, you're going to see at the golf course, wherever it is. Make you feel more comfortable, right? And the chances are they're going to know more people, so they're going to be able to sell the house easier.
And if you were going back into agency now, like as a broker, would you choose off-plan or secondary? Right now,
I would probably do off-plan secondary.
Both.
Like the resale. I'd probably do the resale of the units that aren't quite complete yet. That's where I think the sweet spot
would be
is
your sweet spot. Okay. Give us some tips, some off-plan tips, because like I said, it is a beast and it does require a certain finesse.
Yeah, I think the biggest advice I would give, what I found worked, I used to make, before we had Strada, I had another business. I was a broker initially, and it was just like me and an admin in the office. You could smoke. I used to smoke back then. You could smoke in the office. Smoke like 20 cigarettes a day, make like 300 calls a day. And what I found is everyone knows a broker. So if you don't give someone a reason to meet you, if I ring you today and say to you, you've inquired on one of our adverts, it's got a nice picture, it's got a nice payment plan, and you go, all right, yeah, I've got, I don't know, 5 million to spend, and I bombard you with loads of different options, you're never going to reply to me. And that's what I found. Whereas if I go through it and understand, right, what's your need? What do you want? What do you want to achieve from this investment? Have you looked before? Have you bought before?
And narrow it down.
Yeah, really qualify you, and then say, now let's meet. I don't need to send you anything. I'm not going to discuss anything with you. I need to meet you now, because I need to understand if I'm happy to work with you and if you're happy to work with me. And if you are, then we're going to take the next step together as a partnership. And that, for me, is solidifying the relationship. Like, that's how we're going to work together. You get your loyalty. I only looked at it. I only need 5-6 people like that, and we're good. And then the others I can help, but that's my base, if you like.
Yeah, because it is a bit like Cheesecake Factory to some degree, like menu-wise. There is so much to choose from.
When you said Cheesecake, I was like, Cheesecake Factory.
Have you seen their menu?
I have, yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. It's about that thick. Yeah.
Right, but if you go to somewhere like Le Petit Maison or something, it's a much smaller selection of cuisine. So you're not going to be able to shortlist a smaller selection of suitable properties unless you're asking the right questions.
Exactly.
So what used to be your go-to questions when you're registering a
First
client?
of all, I'd say that obviously you registered your interest in one of our projects. The call today, firstly, thank you very much for your inquiry. Secondly, is to help me understand a little bit more about what you're looking for.
Let them do the talking.
And they go, I want to live in a house. And okay, good stuff. Is it for yourself to live in, or is it for an investment? It's both. Okay. And then, or it was one or the other, whatever it was, then start to
layer on top of that.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's talk about social media.
Okay.
And I feel, and you can challenge this because I feel like you're ahead on when it comes to marketing, both the company's content and your individual's content. And I know some of your brokers as well are going hard with personal branding. So is it less about the company brand? Are we shifting more into the personal brand? Let's discuss.
I think both. I think it's really important for the company brand, for the company to have a brand, right? For you to associate yourself with. There's so many different firms out there that offer all sorts of different options. For us, every single broker that works in our firm is proud to wear a Strada hat. So they like the brand.
Literally a Strada baseball cap.
Yeah. And you go up, wherever you go, you see them out, and I wear it. Everyone wears it because they're proud of the brand. So I think branding as a business is really, really important. And I think if you're a buyer or a seller and you're associated with that business, you're proud to be a part of it. And there's a sense of, you are going to sell my house for the right price, or you are going to help me buy my house for the right price. So branding as a business is really important. Personal branding is really, really important for credibility. Yeah. Like I said earlier, there's so many people in our industry that will say anything, do anything. And I've only had it since trying to dabble in TikTok and whatever,
I still can't get my head around TikTok. I've outsourced that. Yeah. But the Instagram I know very well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm working with someone who's helping, but ever since doing that and putting out some content, you become credible, and then people listen to what you got to say. So I think both are as important as one another.
And I think you've touched on something really important that a lot of agents might not know is happening, but a lot of agents and business leaders are hiring these I don't want to say content creators, but roving TikTokers, TikTok rovers, I like to call them, where they come to you and say, right, we're going to shoot 20 reels for, whatever amount per month. And you sign a contract with them. Now, I know you've got a guy, but I also know that you challenge everything that they say.
I'm the worst person to work with.
So am I.
Yeah, I am quite unorganized. So they turn up and we have a laugh about it, bless him, because he's waiting in the coffee shop and just 2 minutes. I'm just, and I'm ADHD everywhere. So yeah. But also I can't bring myself to do the trending things, the
cringy stuff.
It doesn't. I've done one or two, and I think, oh my, watch it. I think, what are you doing? So they'll come and sit with me and go, right, these are all the ideas we're going to do. I go, well, remove that, remove that, remove that, remove that. Actually, remove everything. And what are you going to do? You might only get 100 views. Yeah. I don't care about going viral. I honestly don't care. My view on it is, if one person watches it and gets some value from it, then
job done.
I'm happy. And I found recently we're starting to get more engagement. We're starting to go viral and get hundreds of thousands of views just from being me.
Just you, yeah. And that's the thing. I think people are trying to fit into like a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
You see one person. We had Alessia on. She's doing it phenomenally.
Yeah,
she's got millions of views per reel. She's nailed it, and she's consistent.
Yeah.
Now, if I try to be like Alessia, it's not necessarily going to work.
No.
So you've got to find your own voice.
I think being yourself as well, right? That's the people buy into. If we're doing what Alessia does, people are going to go, well, maybe it's not the right thing for you.
Yeah.
It is the right thing for her. She does it very, very well. So I think people buy into that. It is her personality. It isn't mine to do that.
Yeah.
Mine is to do what I'm doing.
And like both you and Gary do have quite strong accents. Now, I thought you were an Essex lad.
Yeah, no.
Turns out you're not. You're Watford.
Yeah.
And Gary's Scouse.
As they come.
Love it. You might be tempted in this region to tone down your accents, which will be the most inauthentic thing you could do.
Yeah.
And it will just sound odd, right?
Yeah. I think you do it naturally as well, right? Depending on who you're speaking to. If you're speaking to someone that isn't English, I tend to slow down and talk like I'm thinking, oh my God, am I offending this person? Because they can obviously understand me. So, but Scouse and Glaswegian. I played golf with someone last week who's from Glasgow. And difficult.
Glasgow. So I had this conversation with Callum actually, and I thought that, okay, Scottish accent, but when you're from Edinburgh,
No, it's completely different.
Completely different,
Yeah.
very clear, but it's Glasgow.
Softer,
that's
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Email, is it dead?
Email. What, email marketing? Is it dead? I don't think it's dead. I don't think it's used that much.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a nuisance, isn't it? But
it is where you're so engaged. Like, I feel that some agencies aren't using the power of email marketing enough to their advantage. What's your opinion?
I get a lot of spam emails. I'm not one for emails. That's
Right.
ADHD, highly ADHD. I have attention span of about 5 minutes and then I get bored. So
you need a short email.
So
then.
either short email, even the team, some of the team
Yeah.
will text me and then delete it, send a voice note so that I know you won't read it.
Yeah.
So I think emails for me personally, it's, unless you're just sending consistent updates, it's not something that's going to be great.
Okay.
But I do believe in WhatsApp broadcasts, not spamming. But if you're saving my phone number and then being added to a broadcast and then you're getting updates on a monthly basis, I think that's really, really powerful. Something we do really well, community broadcast, not on just real estate, right? It can be on a new bar opening, it can be a dog groomer, it can be whatever. People want to have that,
And I think that's so important that you have to kind of get away from thinking you're just a real estate representative. You are a community representative. So you should be the mayor of your niche effectively. Like you said, there's a new restaurant or a new bar opening up. That news should come from you as the community expert, not your competitor.
Exactly.
Or, Time Out magazine or something. Okay. Let's talk about your style of mentorship. So what kind of leader are you?
Very hands-on. Like I said earlier, I love getting stuck in a deal. Sometimes probably a little bit too much. I'll help you with this, I'll help you with that. But yeah, very, very, all three of us, to be honest, are very hands-on in our own sort of roles. We try not to cross over. But yeah, we're all very hands-on. We're in the office from 8 o'clock in the morning
and
till
your office
6.
is banging, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a look on YouTube.
Yeah.
They've got a banging office with was it
Cappuccinos.
Gino's?
Yeah.
I wonder whose idea that was.
It was started off as a joke, but
they made it happen.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're all very hands-on. We're all there all the time.
And what do you think okay, you clearly spent a lot of money on that office. Why?
Again, every business is different, right? Every real estate brokerage is different. The packages are different. Our model is one that I think is quite bespoke, that we are very, very, very quality over quantity. And everything we do, we like to consider ourselves, our standards are very, very high. Everyone in the office will wear a suit and tie. Everyone moans about wearing a tie, but you come in and you go, oh my God, everyone looks amazing in here. The office is a reflection of our work. You walk into our office and you're dealing with someone professional who cares, who's going to help and who achieves the highest.
And dress code, that is in this
biggest argument I have every day.
Right. Well, let's talk about it, because I think next generation are very much, I don't need my outfit to.
You don't. Do you know the problem I have is even some of our brokers are going to hate me for saying this. Wear really expensive stuff and they look like a bag of washing, and I can't control a suit. You can't really go wrong in a tailored suit, a nice tie and a white shirt. Like it's basic, but you always look immaculate.
But in this weather, it's a bit much.
Fine. You're in aircon though, aren't you? We do have polos as well for the summer, but what we find is if you do come in the summer in a polo, you're normally the odd one out. And there is a sense of achievement when you put a suit on in the morning. I hurt my foot and I've been out of a suit for 3 months. Today's the first day I'm wearing a suit, and I got dressed this morning and thought, power day today, you know, because it's just, you feel like you're going to work. And that's what we want every single person to feel. There is firms that go in chinos and whatever, and that's fair play to them. That's their thing. For me, it's far easier to look elite and immaculate in a suit than it is to let you go and buy whatever you want. And some people have very strange taste. So yeah.
And I do agree that it does affect your mindset to some degree. Like, you're going to work differently today.
Definitely.
In this outfit than you would if you had a baseball cap on. And
100%. Yeah. Unless it was a Strada one.
Unless it was a Strada. Okay, so that's dress code.
Yeah.
Merch. Let's talk about merch. You love a bit of merch.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Is it just for your staff, or do you?
No, we sell it as well.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's not.
the most profitable side of the
it's
business.
not that, and it's not my side of the business either. So I don't get too involved in it. As a Strada broker, you get access to the hats, the t-shirts, run club. There's all sorts of bits that they've got there. Gym bags that you can have. And yeah, then it's for sale
Just
on our website.
awareness. Okay, all right, good. Right, I want to know what your predictions are for the state of the industry.
In terms of where the market's at, or in terms of the brokers?
Both.
I think as long as the population keeps growing, the market will be fine. I feel I'm from sort of just outside of North London, and when I go back home, the value that I'm getting from even there is there's no value at all. You can't wear a watch, you can't drive a nice car, you can't do anything. And then for what you're buying, the price per square foot is so expensive for what you're getting. Whereas you come here and you buy anywhere, any prime area, you can go and wear whatever watch you want. You can, your wife can walk home, your kids can play in the park.
Safety.
You know? So, and the more people are realizing that, the more people are coming here. So I think the market, in terms of where it's going, I think it won't go like this. You know, it will go up gradually. In terms of the industry of brokers, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I think we need more policing on how to become a real estate agent.
It's too easy.
When we were growing Strada, building Strada, our vision was, if you're in a bar and you say you're in real estate, straight away someone says, "What'd you do?" "I'm in real estate." They turn their nose up. Straight away, another one, right? Everyone. Whereas if you say you work for PwC, EY, straight away they go, "You're a lawyer." They go, "Oh wow," right? And that is the perception we wanted to build. When someone says, "I work for Strada," they go, "Oh wow, you're one of them," which I think we're sort of doing now. But yeah, that takes a lot of discipline. Has the market got that much discipline? I don't know, because it's such a low entry barrier, isn't it, to get in? So
do you think it should be made harder, or do you think there should be more regulation?
I think, yeah, it definitely needs to be made harder. And I think there needs to be, like I say, more policing of who the agents are, how you can become an agent. You know, my understanding of the American market is difficult to get your broker license. It's really credible if you are a real estate broker. Whereas here, because it's so easy. The other thing is there's no loyalty between, you know, clients and brokers, because there's so many of them. There's so many people just making these calls and nicking a deal. It's so easy to nick a deal.
I love that, yeah.
And it, you know, if you're coming from the UK, you're earning 20 grand a year, you come in and drop a 5 million dirham deal on 4%, you've made a few quid, right? You're making a lot of money. That you might be able to do that once, but that's no skill in that. That's pure luck. And I feel like a lot of people will sit down and go, "Oh, I did this." All right, you may have done it once, but to do that consistently over and over and over, build your client base, it's very difficult.
And I've got my kind of opinions or theories on why the quality in the industry is stuck. And that's because when I compare it to the UK model, you've got, of course, first of all, they all get paid basic salaries. And that basic salary goes up based on what your seniority level is. So a real estate agent in the UK is incentivized to get a promotion, to develop, to, you know, grow more skills and eventually manage and lead a team or a branch or an area or whatever it may be. Here, because of the nature of the pay structure, there's no incentive to become a sales manager, right?
Well, it's reverse, isn't it? You actually earn less most of the time if you go through the ranks.
The higher up you go.
If you're a good broker, I always say to people, you really want to go into management? Because if you're a good broker, you should be earning X. So you're probably going to drop a little bit. You'll make it up if you're good, but...
And even some agents might be earning more than the agency owner themselves. I'm sure you've seen that a couple of times bloody hell, how much did they make?
Yeah. But I think it's a difficult industry, isn't it? Because you're right. Like, it's one of the only industries I've ever seen that without being the owner, you can actually make more. And you can make more than senior management. You can make more than whoever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And actually, you can probably, depending on how good you are, you can actually work less. When I was a broker, I didn't work. I did initially for the first year or two, but once I built my client base, I was playing golf a lot. I was doing whatever I wanted to do. And because I could control a deal when I was giving correct advice, the deals were what I wanted to earn. So it's a completely different, role. But I think that suits different people. Some people are made They don't want that
responsibility.
No, they don't want that volatile up and down. For me, I don't know. When I was working, I didn't care. I could earn X this month, nothing the next, then we go again. Whereas some people need X amount coming in each month. Different types of people.
And so as a result of there being a shortage, I guess, of sales managers in the industry, who does everyone learn from?
I think there's really key people in the industry, right? There's some really, really, really good people that are online in Dubai that are really good to learn from. There's some really good brokers with great profiles that learn. I think that as a broker, that's how you choose your company you work for, isn't it? I always find that if you sit with a decent agent, the first thing to talk about is commission. And I'm like, if you're coming to me for commission, you're coming to the wrong firm, because you need to come to me because you love my brand. The commission will come. Yeah, we'll pay a little bit more, we'll do whatever, but it's branding that and the support that we'll give. So that comes in who you want to work like. Right. I would say.
So what can I expect coming in as a broker to Strada?
In terms, we're very...
Training.
We do it a little bit differently. We'll throw you in the deep end for the first couple of weeks. Literally throw you in the deep end. And you build your own objections. I can stand at the front of the room in a classroom and teach you every objection under the sun. It's going to go one ear and out the other, in my opinion. It would do for me. I have a very small attention span. But,
ADHD.
But the way I would learn and the way that we've seen success is go and trial it out, build your own objections. There's this thing that keeps coming up. It doesn't have to be a week. If you go 2 days and you're struggling with this objection, come then back, sit with me, and we'll go through it. We'll understand why the objection's there, how we can overcome it.
Bit of role play.
A little bit of role play. We hold training every week, and it can be. We're actually building a training platform at the moment, and it'll be put in everyone's diary, and then you come. You click that you want to come in, and I'll run that. But it's it's quite reactive. We've got our subjects that we teach, and then I want to know what are you struggling with, and then I'll build from there.
Because it changes all the time.
And each person's different. And if you're in lettings, if you're in off-plan, if you're in secondary, if you're in property management.
Oh, I haven't heard that word for so long. Lettings.
Lettings.
Which is the English for leasing.
Yeah, leasing.
Leasing.
We
is
don't
such
have
an
a massive leasing team, but training, social media training is a massive one. I don't teach that. It's Gary's forte. He gets stuck into that, and we'll go through personal branding, company branding, the standards. There's certain things that we will not allow you to do that other firms do. So
like what?
Taking photos with an iPhone.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, for a property, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's certain brand guidelines when you're doing your own personal branding that you'll sort of stick to as well.
But don't you think some of these iPhone photos are not bad quality? Like
the risk, isn't it? Again, it's like letting someone wear. We're quite anal with it. That's the way we are. And then for people that don't like it, go work with the other firm.
So professional photography on absolutely everything.
We've got photographers. They're paid for. They're there. They're on. There's a system you put in play that you
thing is, agents get a bit impatient. It's like, I've got the listing today. I want to be able to put it online today.
Yeah, and we used to get a lot of complaints when we were new. Now we've got a database filled with amazing photos.
Yeah.
It was all worth it. It was worth that little bit more time because now we've got the best photos. So it goes back to standards, doesn't it? I don't want to wear a tie. But you come in and everyone goes, oh, everyone in here is amazing. It's that, well, you're just going to have to run with it. And this is the way we do it.
What about descriptions? Have you got a standard when it comes to descriptions?
You're asking the wrong person.
All right,
I'm not going to lie.
Gary on.
Yeah.
We'll get Gary on.
I think Che would be involved in that as well. Yeah.
What do you look for in a Strada agent while we're
energy.
on the
energy? I'm not the best recruiter, to be honest with you, because I'm quite a passionate person, and I'm quite I follow on gut feeling. I'm very much, if I like you, okay, fine. So I have. That's so good. There's 3 of us because they have to go through 3. Well, 4 now with Nath as well. So there's sort of 4 stages.
4 interviews?
Not 4. Normally it's 1 with Nath and then it'll be with us. But you've got 4 opinions.
Okay.
I'm very lively, passionate. If someone comes in with the same energy, I'm like, we're in for a winner. I think we've been doing it a long time as well, right? Like we've been in the industry a long time. You can normally see it's drive and passion. What we do is not rocket science. It's quite simple. It's just that relentless. It's my new favorite word, relentless. If you're relentless, if you look me in the eye and tell me I am going to be a winner and I will do it, and I'll learn and I'll be a sponge. It's what I was at 18, 19 and that for me is what you're in.
Okay. You heard it
not
here
that
first.
simple. It's not that simple.
You just got to say
get
you're
back
hungry.
and chase me and go, what are you doing?
Just say you're hungry. You're willing to learn. You're a sponge.
Yeah.
That'll win you over.
Just come into my office and say that. Yeah.
Job done.
Why not?
Okay. Cold calls.
Yep. My favourite subject. Yeah.
Let's have a discussion around cold calls.
Okay.
Because it's not allowed.
Apparently. Weird, because I get calls 10 times a day, so someone's allowing it.
If you're listening from an area that does allow cold calling, what would your advice be?
I break it down. I did a video on it a couple of weeks ago. I break it down, so I compare it to a business. So if you're putting a marketing plan together for a business, you've got credibility, sort of branding exercises. You've got you've got credibility, like your website, your Instagram. You've got your branding, which is on Long Shakespeare Road, and then you've got your lead generation. And that's your targeted marketing, where they don't really care if you're Strada or if you're any other company. They just send whatever it is online and they've swiped up. Revert back to calls where if you're doing the lead generation, hi, it's Gino, I'm working with a client who's got a budget of 5 million. Do you know your house is that price? Go down that route, right? There's no real credibility in that, but we're going to find the unit. Or we're going down the branding call of, I'm Gino, I'm your local agent. You're going to see me online, just introducing myself, save my number. And then following that, you're going for your credibility. Hi, Silvia, I know you're not selling. I know we've talked every month, but I'm giving you those updates, right? I'm building a relationship. So when I call, my number comes up. You know who it is. That is really, really important, I think, than just sitting there in a call out, both hammering the phones, asking is your house for sale.
Sounding like a robot.
Yeah. And this, if I rang you and say, hi, how are you? Can you just screenshot your bank account and send it to me, please? You'd be like, what? No. Me asking for your passport is no different. Why would I do that? You know, your title deed to your house. Imagine in the UK if you got called and said, can I have the deed to your house, please? I don't know you. I've never met you. But you just wouldn't do it, would you?
No, but we used to door knock in the UK. Like,
I did,
literally go around knocking on doors. Hello, is your house for sale?
But at least I did door knocking when I was younger. I was doing it for a window
Me
company.
too.
Did you?
Yeah. Which company?
Safe Style.
No, mine was
the one on the
the
TV.
window company.
Really? Mine was in Luton.
Yeah. Well, we used to have different patches. But yeah, I mean, I closed a few.
Me too. I made good money.
Windows.
Yeah. Wow.
So we used to what other measures did we have? Door knocking. We used to go through the yellow pages, which is the equivalent of cold calling, like database. The yellow pages used to be our database. Google it. But okay, you're in an area where cold calling is allowed.
Yeah.
Do not go in with the one night stand kind of style approach. Add value. What else?
I always try and put myself in the position of the person I'm working against, if you like, right? Whether it's a seller or a buyer or negotiating. So, like, what would I want to hear if I'm selling my house? I always try and give something on the call. If I'm call you and ask you for something. We went into a pub now and I bought you a drink. Human nature says whether you do or you don't. Human nature is. Well, also it'd be I should buy them a drink back.
Yeah.
Right. That's human nature. So if I give something on a call, psychology is saying that you're going to give me something back. Yeah. So that's how I would structure the call.
Even if it's just as small as your email address. So let's say email address, whatever, so that I can keep you updated with what's going on in the community. Because I think people in this region are, and I see it with, I don't own a property here. And I'm put off buying a property here because I don't want to be on a database, but I'll probably get one of those like SIMs and make sure there's a different number on now that I know better. But whenever I'm with someone who's just received a cold call, they're like, that's the 10th one I've had today, to the point where it's becoming a health hazard because people do not answer unknown calls anymore. Now, if I'm having an emergency, let's say your wife's having an emergency, her battery's dead, and she calls you off a random number, you're probably not going to answer because of cold callers. We have to find a solution.
Yeah.
But if the calls are educational or more interesting, then everyone wins.
Yeah, I think you've got, again, using social media, you'll then become incredible. So when you do phone someone and you say, I'm not saying it happens to me, but this is Gino. Oh, I've seen you online. Yeah, you know, or if you do have that presence, you're then credible to whatever I'm going to then say next. You'll listen. There's more of a chance that you'll listen. So you're buying from me as opposed to I'm trying to sell you.
Yeah.
And if you're buying from me and you're buying into me, it's so much easier to advise you correctly and build that relationship.
The problem is when Gino gets to Gino status, he no longer cold calls. So actually all the people making these cold calls are entry level into the industry. They don't know what they're talking about. No. They've probably never bought a property themselves.
When I was in finance for years in the UK, and
yeah, you're giving FX guy.
No, it wasn't FX. No, it wasn't. But it was like an account management role. It wasn't a hardcore sales role initially, but I took it upon myself to go and read loads of sales books, to go and listen to, it wasn't podcasts back then, but it was Audible books. It was downloading the MP3s and whatever else, and Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and all these old American salespeople that you understand the psychology. Some of it's cringe and some of it doesn't work, but a lot of it does, and it builds a baseline. 90% of the people have probably never even heard of anyone I've just said, and they have no interest in actually understanding how you sell something.
Yeah.
They just think, well, it's a house, isn't it? Well, you're going to give me, well, if I make that many calls, someone will give, because that's what they're told, and it's wrong.
So invest in yourself as well.
Definitely.
Don't just rely on
so
the
easy
training.
now as well, isn't it? Like YouTube, podcasts, Audible, but there's so many different things.
Yeah. Okay. We asked Instagram if they've got any questions for you.
Oh no.
We had a question from Frankie P. Wanted himself to be known because he put his name on it.
It's one of my friends from back home. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right then.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on crypto, and what interest does Strada have in it?
I dabbled in it. Go on, I tell you, I lost a lot of money in it. I told you. I told you before. In lockdown, I dabbled in something in blockchain. So I don't understand crypto. I'm a property guy. I buy and sell houses, rent them. I understand property through and through. I tried to be really clever in lockdown. My brother, who works with us now, was a stockbroker, told me to invest some money. It went up. It just kept going up, like everything did. And I remember thinking, oh my God, if it gets to a little bit more, all right, if it gets to a little bit more, this is a pure example of how stupid people can be and greed. And it got to a certain point where I should have cashed in, and then literally dropped the next day.
Right.
And it was a six-figure sum. It was an absurd amount of money. But you learn from it. And I think crypto is very volatile. If you know what you're doing and you research it and you understand it, you can make a lot of money from it. He does a lot in crypto. For me personally, I've got a little bit there, just some part of it. But
you're not going to put any more into it?
No.
Okay. What else do you invest in?
Real estate.
Just real estate.
Real estate.
Okay.
Keep to what I know. Yeah. I tried to be clever and it never worked. So just, real estate.
Stick to what you know and what's relatively safe.
Secondary. Yeah.
Okay. So we usually end each episode with the words of wisdom from my guest. My mantra or my kind of, objective is to help people get started in the industry, get noticed, get results, and get referred. I'll repeat them for you. So what would your words of wisdom be to someone who's looking to get started in real estate?
Set goals. Don't stop till you hit your goals. Follow the process, believe in the process, and keep going.
Okay. And getting noticed. How to get noticed?
Social media. Social media. Keep going. I was shaking like this on my first video, taking a cup out and putting it into a coffee machine. I was absolutely shitting myself. Yeah. But years on, and it
gets easier.
Yeah, definitely. Social media.
Okay. How to get results?
Self-investment. Understanding how you can become the elite and the best of the best in your industry, whether that's sales, whether it's whatever it is.
And how to get referred?
Giving a good service, being an advisor, not being a facilitator.
Not a tour guide.
Tour guide. Yeah. Callum said that.
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah. Good.
Okay. And that's it for today. Anything else you want to add? Any message for the viewers?
No, it's it. Perfect. Thanks so much for having me on. Yeah, it's been brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will catch you next time. Beautiful.